What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. OG here, and I wanted to follow up with my video regarding the failure of the devs of UFL, which is strikers. I know for a fact they are in a money grab flow right now. Essentially, you see it in any company that has failed. Either they're not selling enough to make the money they need to keep the game going, or they're not getting enough people in. Whatever it is, in the world of gaming, when there's not enough players playing, which means there's not enough microtransactions going on, and they realize they're not going to grow to the point where they're going to make the money they expected to make, what they do is they take their focus from growing the player base, growing the game, or in a company sense, it would be growing the customer base, right? They stop focusing on that and start focusing on making the most money possible by, in a company terms, getting rid of any product they have, and they'll start lowering the prices and lowering until they get rid of everything, because they're just trying to recoup at that point. In the gaming world, in the sense of UFL, they realize, if you want to go open a new account, you can see for yourself just how little they care about growing the player base, right? When you're a new game and you have players opening a new account with you, right? Download the free game, they get their first squad. You're going to want to woo them. You're going to want to show them that this is going to be a great experience. And go look for yourself how barren a new account looks if you are a new player right now or opening a new account. It is absolutely obvious that they could care less about getting new players. But again, you can see this for yourself. Just start a new account and tell me that that's something that anybody would want to be a part of. You couldn't even compete right off the bat without putting in money. And like I said in the video yesterday with the taglines, nobody is going to believe it's free to play and fair to play when right off the bat you have an extremely lower rated team. Within a few days of competing, depending on how good you are, you're going to work your way up in the ranks, then to play the top rated teams at this point in the game, 91 rated teams with your 50 and 60, 70 rated squad, and you either have to choose, well, I'm done playing, or I'm going to put in money, in which case the whole free to play goes out the window. And if you don't put in money, the whole fair to play goes out the window, because the people who did put in money and have these top rated teams, or just because they played longer than you, which isn't fair at all, either way, both of those sentiments are false. It's not free to play. It's not fair to play. But not only that, it is an absolute joke of a game. And so when I say the devs failed and people always say, well, it's new. Guys, the game is over 8 years in production and then released. So we're looking at close to 9 years altogether. And the fact that you have all of these glitches, which is what you are watching right now. I did a compilation of every glitch that was shown. This is just what was shown to the public. Think about everything that wasn't shown, and also think about what's still in the game today. What players are actually using, well, I shouldn't even call them players, what loser rats are using to actually compete, and not only compete, but win and be successful in UFL. All the glitches they are using that are still in the game that aren't shown here at all. This is just the regular glitches that the devs weren't able to get out in over 8 years of production, plus post-release, patch after patch after patch. In some cases, since this is varying times in the game. So for those of you who are saying this is a good game, let's just go through some of the things that players are using to win. And keep in mind, these aren't just things that happen ever so often. No, these are glitches that are used every single game and are actually the best way to have success. By that I mean you can work on playing actual football, and if two players truly did try to play actual football, they could do some pretty cool things in the game. However, the best way to win is to use these glitches. So it's not even that they work for some people who can't play regular football, it's that they are the most powerful things in the game that override playing the actual football simulation that this game is supposed to be. So first off, let's go through the halfway fixed things, or the halfway broken, whichever way you want to look at it. Defense is number one. You can't adequately defend. You can't keep up with the attackers the way you should be able to, and therefore you have players that are able to constantly dribble constantly cut, left, right, and the defenders can't do anything about it. It is super unrealistic. Then let's talk about the halfway fixed through balls. At first, you couldn't even use through ball, which is one of the most important passes in football, and especially in football video games, because those passes keep the momentum going. They help players to get in on goal. So fortunately, strikers focused on fixing this in UFL, but like I said, halfway fixed or halfway broken, either way, the through balls are still nonsense in the sense that you have to be at a certain angle to even get them to work. Even if you have an open lane to your player and the defender's there but not in the way to block the pass, if you play almost like a straight on through ball, which should go through, it's a realistic pass in the game, but not in UFL because of the passing system or whatever coding they did. The through ball will actually lock onto the defender and go to the defender's foot. So you actually have to be at a certain diagonal angle just to play a through ball. And that's not the only thing. There's a certain angle and location on the field where you can play a lobbed or regular through ball, and it ends up locking up the opposing defense. What I mean by that is as soon as this particular ball is played from this certain spot on the field, the opposing defense will just run in behind the attacker that is running onto the ball, and you literally can't switch players and you can't defend. Again, a coding issue, a glitch, whatever it is, it essentially gives the player who played that glitch ball a free chance on goal, which almost always ends up in a goal against you. It is one of many nonsense things that players are able to utilize to have success that aren't really football. Corner glitch, so we can keep in the same category of locking up defense. When you serve a corner, if you flick it on, whether far post flicking it near post or near post flicking it far post, the defense locks up, right? The ball automatically goes to a player on the corner taking team, and they have a free what used to be goal, and now it at least can be blocked sometimes. That's the one thing they fixed, but the corner flick on absolutely still locks up the defense, and you still can't score on it. It's not every time that it will be blocked. It's just that now it's not an automatic goal. It's just a good chance of scoring situation. But nonetheless, a glitch that is still in the game. And if anything, you can say it's only, again, halfway fixed, halfway broken. And what about the L1 R2 sprint, right? You literally have the regular sprint, which is R2, and then you press L1 R2 and any of your players turn into an absolute speed demon that makes it even harder for an already inadequate defense to keep up with these players, and it allows low-level loser rats that can't properly build up, can't properly play football to just take one player, press L1 R2, run around in circles, run around the pitch until they get a chance and usually a goal from sprinting like this. And the problem is there's no such thing as a second sprint, right? When players are sprinting full speed, they're sprinting full speed. Nobody can just put a rocket up their butt and go 10, 20, 30 mile an hour faster. It is a glitch, and it is still in the game, probably because these rat losers like it. And at this point, Strikers just wants to keep the rat losers so they can take as much of their money as they can before the game totally crashes and burns. And this next one is hilarious because you would think Strikers would learn from the past. It is the heading issue going on right now ever since Strikers decided the genius idea of making height a variable, the leading variable in deciding who wins headers. So going back, if you do play UFL, everyone remembers the glitch with the L1 triangle, long across the field switch, and then you would just hold L1 square for a lob cross into Holland or Nunez or some other tall striker, and they would easily be able to dunk on the keeper, the defender, and score goals almost every time. Well, they finally removed that, and then after that decided this height thing would be the best way to decide who would win a header. And so guess what players did? They went out and they bought the tallest strikers, not the best strikers, not the strikers that fit their team, but the tallest strikers, and they just serve crosses, which, by the way, the passing system is ridiculously unrealistic because everything locks to everyone's feet. It makes for the goofiest looking non-football passes, but that's beside the point. You go to the side near the goal, you cross, every cross locks onto the attacker's head, and then if you have a tall striker and the opposing team has a smaller center back, no matter how good that center back is, no matter how high they can jump in real life, it doesn't matter because the taller striker wins the head ball, according to Strikers' logic in football. So You get a super tall striker like Luka or Lukaku, and you pretty much automatically score every header. The only way to try to maybe stop it, and it's not even guaranteed, is to get a super tall center back. So what you then have to do is turn height into a way that you look at the game. You look at your tactics. If you see a tall striker on the other team, you have to literally take out whoever your center back or center backs are and put in a tall center back or two, just to make sure that the opposing player can't just score every single cross. It is the most unrealistic nonsense, and the fact that strikers thought that this was a good variable to add, especially after having a debacle with the lob cross headers that ruined the game almost, and that did ruin the game for a while, to be honest, and it's now back, but almost even worse. It is insanity and shows the incompetency of this development company. So again, the fact that they are focusing on more and more microtransactions, more things to get you to spend your money on instead of fixing these things, tells you everything you need to know about where this company's priorities are and where this game is headed. But the good news is you do have alternatives in football gaming, and that is where, if you want to, I can help you out. I play both FC and maybe eFootball, but right now they're in the doghouse too with some nonsense they have, and I will be covering that so everyone knows what's going on in that game. But there's still FC rematch. There are alternatives. So keep grinding, keep having fun. Like, subscribe if you haven't already. Join the Discord, and I will see you soon.